Our top story first, it's Deepavali across South India today with states like Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu celebrating the festival with a whole lot of sound, light and warmth. In Thanjavur, devotees rang in Deepavali with customary oil baths, prayers, fireworks and firecrackers. In Mailaduthurai, the town's elephant, Nyanambike, participated in Deepavali celebrations too, being made to feel a bit extra special on the occasion. Chennai, on its part, braved seasonal rains from the northeast monsoons but celebrated the festival nevertheless, while Bengaluru is seeing a rare display of empty roads and no traffic as offices across the city remain shut for the festive occasion. For context, South India's Deepavali celebrations are often a far cry from the loud festive fervour that is often witnessed in Diwali or Deepavali in other parts of the country. The festival here is celebrated with a great deal of devotion, plenty of sweets and bright festive cheer. And speaking of Deepavali itself, it's a double Deepavali bonanza for government employees and industry in Andhra Pradesh. Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu has announced a one-time dearness allowance rollout effective November 1st at a cost of around 160 crore rupees to the state exchequer. The state has extended childcare leave as well for all women employees, government employees that is, up until 180 days till the time of retirement. The Chief Minister also ordered the release of pending industry incentives totaling to around 1,500 crore rupees a day ahead of Deepavali. This includes subsidies and other incentives that were promised to business houses in return for investing in Andhra Pradesh. So a happy Deepavali there, both for government employees in the state as well as industries investing in Andhra. Moving to Karnataka next, the state's ongoing social and educational survey, better known as the caste census, is being extended to October 31st. The much talked about exercise began on September 22nd and was initially scheduled to end on October 7th. However, logistical delays had the state pushing the deadline to October 18th, well into Dussehra. Now the state says it could take 10 days more for full coverage. According to Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar, most districts except Bengaluru South, Bidar and Dharwad have seen 90% coverage. In fact, Bengaluru City saw 2/3 participation, with 20% of respondents withholding disclosure of their details. Meanwhile, school teachers who were initially pressed into action as enumerators will no longer be required to assist in the caste census exercise. Karnataka's caste survey, remember, has been in the spotlight since it was first announced. High-profile individuals like Narayan Murthy and Sudha Murthy had refused to participate in the survey, citing that they were not backward class members. The government, meanwhile, has chosen to continue with the exercise well into the next 10 days, hoping to close out by the end of the month. And staying with Karnataka, data from Quantum AMC has revealed that the state's mutual funds stood at 5.67 lakh crore rupees, making it one among the top 4 states in mutual fund assets under management. For context, Maharashtra, New Delhi and Gujarat ranked above Karnataka, which saw mutual funds total to 6.9% of the state's total assets under management. Incidentally, the state's mutual fund assets grew 5x in the last 10 years, while Bengaluru alone registered a 10x growth in the same period. Well, Karnataka there ranking right on top when it comes to mutual fund investments in the top 4 states across India, that is. Moving on, October may not have ended yet, but Tamil Nadu is already gearing up for the onset of the northeast monsoon. In Chennai, Chief Minister M.K. Stalin visited the State Emergency Operations Center, where he said that Tamil Nadu was prepared for any eventuality related to rains. For context, the state's worst months for rain-related calamities are usually late November and December, with both months recording record rainfall. This year around, though, October has stood out as an unusually rain-heavy month, with districts like Ramanathapuram, Theni, Virudunagar and the Nilgiris seeing higher than usual rainfall. On an average, Tamil Nadu has received 50% heavier rains than usual for this time of the year. Meanwhile, the Mullaperiyar Dam near the Tamil Nadu-Kerala border has also seen its water levels breach 139.5 feet in relation to its capacity of around 143 feet. The dam also saw water being released into the nearby Idukki district, with a flood alert being sounded off in the vicinity. Now, it may be a case of better late than never for Kerala. Earlier today, the state announced that it was finally joining the PM for Schools for Rising India, or PM SHRI scheme. The state's U-turn comes 3 years since the scheme was first announced in 2022, through which the centre hopes to set up over 14,000 schools to showcase the implementation of the National Education Policy, or NEP. Kerala, Tamil Nadu and West Bengal have thus far opposed the project, calling it a means for the BJP to saffronize education in these states. However, Kerala's backtracking on its enrollment in the program comes amid a fund crunch for the state's education department. That's 1,466 crore rupees that would have been allocated by the centre had the state been part of the PM SHRI program. Kerala's education minister, meanwhile, has highlighted the crunch, claiming the state was joining the program as the money rightfully belonged to the students of Kerala. It's an innovation that's bound to raise a few eyebrows and open up debates on the role, the relevance and the ethical question marks surrounding the use of AI in mental health. Bengaluru's Kadabam's hospital has launched what it calls the world's first personalized AI agent for mental health. MindTalk, that's what the private mental health care facility is calling it, will use agentic AI and voice-driven artificial intelligence to bring quote-unquote clinically grounded therapy to anyone with a smartphone. The hospital says the use of the service is free, needless to say private, and will always be accessible to everyone. The project, backed by a $7.3 million investment, will see Kadambams hoping to cover 1 million users over the next 18 to 24 months. To speak to us about this intriguing innovation, I am now joined by Sandesh Kadambam, Managing Director at the Kadambams Group. Sandesh, firstly, thanks so much for joining us on the broadcast. And you probably already know what my first question is going to be. What's the ethical and legal verdict on using an AI agent to deliver therapy sessions, Sandesh? Is an AI agent for mental health therapy good to go on both these fronts, really?
Absolutely. Firstly, thank you for having me around. I mean, it's indeed a pleasure and an honor to be here. First of all, I think AI and the usage of AI in mental health is bound to be here and is going to remain here as we go along. I think it's really about how we use it, where the use cases are, and how we're going to structure it out. I'll put it out this way. The way we at Kadabams have set it out is the therapist and the mental health professionals are here to stay. But what the agentic AI, the whole aspect of deep mental health agent that we have built is to play the role of a patient assistant, and an assistant that can aid our mental health professionals in the delivery of services, and the service seekers or the users of mental health to be enabled in the right path and to have a companion or an assistant throughout their whole recovery and the journey. I'll spend a minute here to explain what we really have hit out here. Mental health is such a complex thing. It has got 4 verticals in the whole aspect of 4 larger domains. It is about the oneself, the individual, people around them, the surroundings and the society, the medical aspect, the pharmacological, and the whole aspect of recovery, which needs support, and the social element that is involved. Now, to support all of this, there's so much that happens in between the 2 therapy sessions. And now, how does this therapy get recorded? And what happens during this whole interface of delivery of services is where we wanted to aid and support. And that's where our force for innovation came in, and that's where we invested such heavily into mental health and AI.
Absolutely. In fact, I hear you when you say that it will of course be grounded in real folks actually at the core of therapy, especially as far as mental health is concerned. In fact, you've also said it in your press release that Mind Talk will not be a run-of-the-mill scripted AI chatbot, but is rather an AI companion that understands tone, context, all while engaging in therapy. But doesn't this also mean, Sandesh, the use of patient or customer data so as to ensure that these interactions happen in the first place? So where does the ethical line get drawn here as far as the use of this highly confidential information is concerned?
Fantastic. I mean, see, there is no customer data that is mandatorily shared out, and everyone has got a choice whether they wish to have any information being shared. What do I mean by this? It is that every information that is shared during the recovery process or the journey is limited only to the patient and their therapist or their mental health professionals. That is only if they wish to have an understanding and seek help in that whole process. So the data privacy, the aspect of data security is vested, and it is largely 1:1, and that's how the whole process of data security lies. And there is no question of sharing of information or any customer data being leveraged or used in this whole process.
Right. So correct me if I'm wrong then. So if a patient were to choose to not have data from a session used by the model to form the basis of its AI-enabled therapy, do those patients then have the option of opting out? And if yes, then how do you end up training the model to go about continuing therapy if this data were not to be used by it?
So of course, I mean, it is not essential that every patient session and every patient data is going to be used. So the idea is that the patient data security is very much vested, and the data is not shared until and unless the patient is okay to have it shared. So any information that is exchanged, it is between the patient and their mental health professional, and not for the purpose of building out on the model and unless they consent to the whole recovery and the journey. For us, it is about tracking the individual's journey beyond what happens in the consultations or the therapy sessions itself. It is really about their aspect of journaling, mood tracking, medication, the ability to be able to build on the various aspects that entice into what is called the recovery.
Right. Just zooming out a little bit, Sandesh, there's been so much criticism in the recent past on the tryst that mental health has had with AI in the relatively recent history of generative AI and chatbots, especially in the context of chatbots and the kind of tryst they've had with the instances of self-harm and suicide. So while you say that Mind Talk may not be just another chatbot and there are checks and measures involved here with regard to patient data and privacy, surely there will also be voices of concerns that point to these instances in the recent past. So, while having reservations about the use of AI for therapy is already an existing situation, how do you respond to such concerns?
So in our case, this whole aspect of therapy is one aspect of mental health care service delivery, right? Now, answering the first part of your question, our model is trained as it is being fundamentally grounded with mental health values and treatment modalities. Situation like self-harm, harm to self, harm to others, or harm to society or surroundings are tackled with the utmost caution, and the whole aspect of support is largely guided and supportive. There is no aspect of the model, be it the chatbot, the voice bot, going ahead and replying to them in a one particular way. It's with a lot of caution, and to ask them to seek the professional help in the best possible manner that's available to them. Because we don't know where the person is calling us from or where they're having this conversation. Now coming to the AI in therapy, right? So this area, the second part of your question is largely going to be about how it is going to be built out and used. For us, as we are saying, the mental health professionals, psychiatrists, clinical psychologists, and therapy being one aspect of mental health service delivery, we are being cautious in ensuring the usage of the AI is largely for the delivery and ensuring that one can seek help in the best possible manner and be able to get it in the at the right time with the right resources.
Right, right. Right, you've talked about the app, you've talked about its guardrails as such. How quickly do you hope to grow usage of MindTalk? You've said 1 million customers over the next 18 to 24 months. So where does the next phase of growth come from and how quickly do you plan to make it happen?
Right now, as a 3-decade-old organization and being in behavioral health, we cover the spectrum of mental health care services from a child to an adult to our older adults, as the whole spectrum is covered, and we have various service deliveries in various forms as we construct. We are looking at partnering at the community level, direct to users in the community. We're looking at partnering with educational institutions. We're looking at partnering with the corporates, the governments, and even insurances. I think that's the really way I see this phase out, for it to reach out to hundreds of thousands of users and millions of users as we speak. Because now I think for us to be able to answer the question of access to quality mental health care, which has been our driven vision, we are taking one step at a time and ensuring that's the grounding that we're able to get to.
Right. So beyond 1 million, do you have any vision or any, or a milestone that you hope to accomplish in terms of how many customers you want to land and by which time beyond 1 million?
Of course, yes. I think the first million is our real benchmark. We will be able to get to certainly we should be able to get to the tens of millions as we speak. As I'm speaking to you, we are at an exploratory stage with a few insurances where we will be able to enable it to a lot of their insured lives, which in turn runs into tens of millions. So our growth is clear. We get to the first million and then to the next 10 million in the next, if the first milestone is 18 to 24 months, and from there is really about 36 months to where the 10 million benchmark should hit us to.
Right. As things stand, and you spoke about accessibility just a little while ago, but as things stand, MindTalk is free to use. But would you ever look to monetize the product once your numbers build up? And if yes, what's the pricing model you're looking at?
So fantastic. So the way we are looking at pricing this is the model, the deep tech mental health agent, will become a lot more accessible. Today, what is available in the app, we're already testing it and trying to make it available on our WhatsApp. It will be available on your ChatGPT, Perplexity, and so on. So the accessibility question is going to be solved. So this, as a deep tech mental health agent, is going to be free for use. The way we plan to monetize it is with our service delivery and through what we call it as the journey of recovery, right? So these journeys would ideally start from about 4,500 rupees, spread over 90 days, covering about 10 to 12 sessions that each recovering individual would need, but which is with guided assessments, which is the baseline, recovery thresholds, touch points, goalposts that is managed during the whole course of recovery, which is what we term it as the journey. We start with about 4,500 for a 3-month journey, which would go on to about 8,500 rupees for a 3-month journey. That's the way we're going to ensure that this digital service delivery is going to be accessible to the larger masses.
Right. And speaking of monetization and investments, you've invested $7.3 million so far in developing the AI agent itself. Do you foresee potential for further funding in the model? And which areas do you think will require the most funding insofar as the tech itself is concerned?
Fantastic. So, a small correction there. That's the budget that we've kept aside for investment into tech, the AI, and the mental health innovation that we're looking at. We've invested, partially of this $7.5 million today. We will go on to invest, and I foresee this to be invested in the next 12 to 18 months. So that's how it's going to span out. And from there, I think this is self-sustainable in a lot of aspects. Well, I will see how the B2B space pans out. I will see how the government and the institutional partnerships span out, and that's the way I see it monetizing as we go along.
Absolutely. And Sandesh, are there plans to raise external funding? I would imagine the field is wide open, given that AI in mental health care is an untapped space as things stand.
Look, I'm a comprehensive behavioral health care service provider. I am into a larger aspect of behavioral health, managed care, physical, now getting into, and we've always been in digital space as well, and now with dedicated digital products. It's been bootstrapped till now, but we wish to explore at the right time in the near future. That's all I could say at this point in time. We are bootstrapped. We've successfully launched about 30-odd healthcare centers in the last 36 months, which is a great feat for ourselves. We're continuing the same momentum. We launch another 5 health centers in the next couple of months. And with digital investments that we have done, we expect the scale only to fasten as we go along.
Right. So should you open up the field to external funding and get maybe VC firms in, or investors, so to speak, to actually go about investing in the tech itself? Which avenues do you see the most potential for funding in, Sandesh?
I mean, if at all, it would be our new age entities, or as a comprehensive group, because I think we are well knitted as a physical and digital services option. So that's at a stage that we would explore. At this point in time, we are we're building out in the best capacities that we can, and we're well placed in being able to do so for the near future.
Right. Last question, then, before I let you go, do you foresee other healthcare institutions also going the AI way when it comes to mental health care, all the ethical, regulatory, and legal concerns notwithstanding?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the way we are going to go about it is because we see this model evolving into the other areas of managed care and physical health rehabilitation. Things like autonomous physiotherapy, elder care companion, the aspect of, diagnostics, imaging, and AI. So these are the whole areas of healthcare services as a Kadabam's group that we're seeing there. And I personally believe the industry will evolve this way because a lot of these tasks and the processes that are interlinked in especially healthcare services, and I would say in the managed care space, requires an aid. And if we can build it as a companion, an assistant for the service delivery and an assistant for the user, I think that's really the optimism that I'm driving with, and that is where I see both of them coming together very well.
Right. Well, Sandesh, all I can say is if there's anything that can help in India's overall mental well-being in a manner that is safe, personal, and ethical, and why not? With the help of AI, should that be the case, the medium should hardly matter. And if AI could help in that regard, then AI it is. Thank you so much for joining us, and all the very best with Mind Talk. Thank you, Sandesh. Well, on that note, it's a wrap on this Deepavali edition of South Central. Once again, from myself and the rest of the team, here's hoping you and your loved ones have a safe and happy Deepavali. Thanks so much for watching South Central. It's goodbye from us.